Runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger, let's see, what we got, a tricycle, put it down, tricycle, put it down, tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you cleared land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around, that'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. You do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow on the final, and as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to re-sequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard got the jet in tight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever's here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, I can follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Three, two, one.
Good afternoon, hello everybody. Welcome to the live stream on this absolutely bloody stunning day of a Thursday. Is it Thursday? It's Thursday. It's the penultimate live stream before we all go off on our summer break and try and refresh ourselves and work on our technique and bring you an even better live stream. Just one thing I noticed in the comments, a few people saying that they couldn't get onto the Skype stream from yesterday. That was my fault. Basically, got to the end of it and mucked up a bit. I need to edit out the screen of my WhatsApp messages. Not there was anything dodgy in there at all. I'm on board for that.
No bets.
Sorry?
Any bets?
On the election.
Yeah. No. Oh, what have I done? Oh, no. Oh, what have I done? Well, that's going to be interesting. Oh, stand by. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, situation recovered. Anyway, so basically, if you go onto the members forum on flyer.co.uk or forums.flyer.co.uk, look in the members forum there. There's a post with the new URL to yesterday's Skype stream with the end bit. It kind of ends a bit abruptly because it was just a quick and dirty edit, I'm afraid. So there you go. Right. What do I need to do? Apart from welcome you and welcome team, thank you. Bruce is here and in the green room, which is good. So we'll have him on at about 5 to 8. Thank you very much, Bruce, for that. And thank you, Skydemon, for sponsoring the live stream. And this is not a tip, this is a question. You asked, Tim, why can't I file a bloody Airways flight plan with Skydemon? Well, here's why.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Tim, and we are most of Team Skydemon. Welcome to another session of questions and answers.
Why can't I file Airways flight plans in Skydemon?
Filing Airways flight plans it's actually a lot more involved than just filing. You have to first find a route that validates with the Eurocontrol computers if you want to fly in Europe. And then you have to find the appropriate time to fly that, get it validated, respond to any other messages, and then you can go flying. There's actually free services out there, such as the excellent Autorouter, which does a really good job of doing all that stuff for you.
Yeah, Autorouter, it goes through the whole validation process, the confirmation process, and then once you're at the end of it, there's a little button, open in Skydemon, hit that, and then it's in Skydemon for visualizing when you go flying.
Oh, yeah, so you can then use that route to use Skydemon to help you fly those airways. And it includes, the subscription includes instrument plates from the AIP as standard. They're all geo-referenced, and there's no extra cost for using those.
There's loads of information on our website. Just go to skydemon.aero and go to help and support.
Very good. There you go. There's the answer. I'm not quite sure what the answer is to why the colour was funny in the middle.
Okay. I'm not
sure.
sure.
But there you go. The content was there. Right. So at this time we would normally go, right, should we bring on Simon for the weather? But we can't. And so we got some weather. We got it from Simon, but it's going to be read to you by Ed, who has made a supreme effort and put on his most colourful shirt to look just like
Earlier on in commercials, Ian said, "Just go in your wardrobe and find your most colourful shirt." And I reminded Ian that in the time he's known me, when has he known me ever to be colourful?
Yeah, and unfortunately, you declined the second option of just shaving your head to look like Simon.
That's it. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that either. But I can bring you Simon's a Simon weather forecast. So hats. Here we go. And I know Ian's got some pictures. So Friday, it's a bright day on Friday, but quite a breezy one. Strong westerly wind is bringing some showers to western coasting hills. The showers cross northern and western Scotland, where they might merge to longer spells of rain at times, and the risk of some thunderstorms here too. For more central and eastern areas, as well as southern, fewer showers around and some better sunny spells. Typical bases around 3,000 feet. Tops are around 10 to 15,000 feet, but watch for higher tops in those clouds across northern and western areas. On to Saturday, it's showery again in the northwest. Some of the showers are heavy. The trough across eastern Scotland extends into the North Sea, northern England, and brings a risk of thunderstorms. Not as windy as Friday. Best conditions you'll find in the east. Bases again around 3,000 feet, tops at around 15,000 feet. but higher tops in the west, especially close to the trough, where there might be a risk of some cumulonimbus. So watch out for that. Sunday, a few residual showers will linger across southeastern areas on Sunday morning, and there could be some showers to cross northern and western Scotland at any time overall, though. With the ridge of high pressure having built over the country, conditions are likely to be better. With some good spells of sunshine, bases 3,000 to 4,000 feet, tops around 12,000 feet. But again, those tops will be higher in the west. So that's it. No bright coloured shirt.
What about a plug for Ed's Weather School?
Sorry, what about Weather School? I should tell you that Simon runs Weather School. It's a great way to learn about weather. I know he likes to always say, understand skew-tees, and we all love a skew-tee. And I would suggest tonight, as I don't have his brilliant little graphic, that you just check the Weather School on WeatherWeb, I think it is, isn't it? So
weatherweb.com, I think.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
Simon, I hope you're enjoying your holiday.
Well, I have to say, Ed, that was superbly done. Well done.
Very good.
And the weather looked pretty nice, actually. Although France, I don't know if anyone noticed, didn't get a mention, but France was a few times over the weekend where France is looking a little bit challenging.
Right. Okay.
Depending on where you're going.
Yep.
Hey.
Yep. So,
What
question
do
of the week is next. And I have nothing to do with this question, but it says, do you need lead in your fuel? Do you need lead in your fuel? Or is it too soon to start talking about it being too hot? So you can choose either question, whichever one you prefer.
Never too soon. Never too soon.
Yeah. Right. Flyer Club members, thanks for joining. If you're not a Flyer member, you can join at flyer.co.uk/membership. I've just uploaded a picture of next month's landing vouchers. There we go. So we've got a great month. Fishburne, East Kirkby, Damien's Hall, Kitty Hawk, and I think we're right in saying the first time that we've ever had Compton Abbas as a free landing voucher, which is really good. So yeah, go, get out there and make use of those. And obviously,
PPR for Compton Abbas.
Yeah, PPR for all of them. I think they all want PPR. Yeah, you get access to all the content, our weekly Skype stream, all the discounts and webinars. And I think the next webinar is going to be Simon. So you can.
Yeah, it is. I think we're targeting the 17th or something like that, but it's still a little bit fluid.
Yeah. Probably Tuesday 17th. Yeah, if not another Tuesday. So yeah, go and join flyer.co.uk. £5 a month or 52 for the year. Do it.
Mike's got an additional question of the week. He says, when will Ed complete the Lego Concorde that is behind me? Mike, it's in the box at the moment. It might be a winter project. You need to finish the cub before that gets done.
That is very true. It's very true. Okay. Ed, are you?
Yes. Oh, the Wadswick men. Yes, I have some. So obviously we're doing our Wadswick Wednesday mug giveaway. If you're a Flyer Club member, obviously you can. We've made the invite. We've got a limited edition number of mugs, and you can fly in and visit us at Wadswick on a Wednesday. Collect your Skystream mug. 3 people did so this week, which was a bumper day for us. We've had a couple of pairs previously. Steve from Popham, Peter from Howell, and Kev from Pound Green all came in. And that's Peter from Popham. Steve from Popham in his amazing little Kolb Twin Star. And that's Kev and Peter. And they came in, and Kev and Peter joined us for the live for the Skystream during the broadcast, and got to saw the amazing technical prowess of Skystream production. And they can confirm that, like sausages, you don't need to see them being made. So,
very good, absolutely right. Just a quick one from me. There was, as most of you know, if you've been following the forum, last week was the Raduno, organised by the amazing Ricardo and Kate, his partner. So it has a few quick pictures. There's a bunch of aircraft that made it down. There was some challenging weather on the way. We got a briefing from Simon, and he was kind of a little bit the voice of doom and gloom. So people set off at various times, and I even set off via BA, which was a bit of a mistake, but we'll come to that later. So these aircraft made it all the way to L'Aquila, which is kind of east of Rome, which is pretty good. Some early arrivals there. make note of the hat. There was one of those on my head. Ricardo provided those. Raduno is clearly just about food and drink. It's not clearly just about food and drink at all, but food and drink in Italy is pretty good. This is a huge key fob. That's probably in reality only mentioned is a bit smaller. Another lunch, and just to top it all off, some culture. I've got my Sportis hat on today, as opposed to my Raduno hat on today, and that's mainly because, well, that's entirely because British Airways lost both of the check-in bags, which had my hat plus some surplus hats that we were planning to give away as well. So I may get them back, but who the bloody hell knows?
Let's hope you do.
Yeah, I hope because the other thing, it's got my razor in it as well, so I'm using that as an excuse not to shave for now.
Yes.
So if I turn into Father Christmas.
Yeah, Catkin, and I think she's answered her own question, but she says, oh no, that's a big long question. Was any grappa consumed?
Bears would, clearly, yeah. It was only through politeness, really, and just kind of a part of blending with the local culture. That's the only reason, really.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. I think somewhere there's a picture of Annabelle, and not of this Raduno, but of the last Raduno, finishing off a bottle of grappa. A bit like that. Maybe it was limoncello, I can't remember. But anyway, grappa was consumed. Look out for the next Raduno, which won't be next year. It'll be the year after. I'm actually considering that maybe there'll be a little Fraduno next year. A little trip down to Mond, Lima Fox, November Bravo for a couple of days. So look for that. And I mean, there's no guarantees at the moment, but that's what you're looking confused by, Dave.
I was just trying to work that out.
It's a change of country, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah. Fraduno.
Yeah.
It's not Spain or Germany.
A French Raduno.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Yes.
I like the idea of Spain, because surely that would become Spaduno.
Fraduno. Oh, yeah, all of them. Anyway.
Whereabouts in France? Because it's a very big country.
Is it? Lima Fox, November Bravo, Mond, Mende, pronounced as if you were if it was spelled in English, it'd be Mond. Is how you pronounce it, Mond.
Right.
But it's Mond, Mende. Lima Fox, November Bravo, a typical French airfield. So I don't know, maybe 3,000 feet. Or it's at 3,000 feet of altitude. Actually, it's a pretty long tarmac runway. Pretty much almost nobody there. No landing fees, no parking fees. Total fuel. Occasionally there's someone in the tower. Occasionally they're not. Try not to phone them up for PPR because they look at you and go, "What is it with you Brits and PPR, for God's sake?" Well, they don't do that, but they say it in French. They go,
Well, you've sold it, so you're going to have to make the flying happen now.
Do you think we take the runway home when we go? No. So there you go. But we'll see what we can do about that. But anyway, so good. That was Raduno. Look forward to Fraduno next year.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh,
we forgot. Let's catch up. No, we didn't forget. It's just we forgot to change thing. Tony Crow photo thing. Go and catch it up if you remember one of the webinars.
Yes.
It's slick tonight.
You can see it on the your member dashboard should you want to go and see it. So to start the news, Duxford is to get a next generation aviation centre to develop sustainable aircraft. This is the plan that they've submitted. You can see the runway there on the right, and the location where they're going to put it is just on the left of the runway. It's where the land warfare base is at the moment. I have no idea what they're going to do with that, but obviously if this plan goes ahead, it will be obliterated. So there's not a new plan, actually. This is between the Imperial War Museum, which runs Duxford, and also Cambridge College called Gonzo and...
Gonzo and Caius.
I told myself I wasn't going to say Gonzo, but I did it. Anyway, and Caius. Anyway, sounds like something out of Harry Potter.
You didn't go to Cambridge, did you, Dave?
I didn't go to Cambridge. No, I didn't. Sorry.
Me neither.
Anyway, I did go to Harlow, which is different. Anyway, so so it's an aviation tech development place. They're going to sort of concentrate on next generation. It's not a new idea. They did say a couple of years ago they were going to move to a site on the other side of the M11, which wasn't actually part of the Duxford site, but presumably they've changed their minds and got a hold of this bit of land anyway, they put in for it. They appear to have the money, so let's see what happens with that.
Two things that occurred to me there. I'm going to pull this picture back up.
Yeah,
that looks to me like the grass runways going to be no longer a grass runway. I might be wrong. I hope I am wrong. But
because that is a bit close, isn't it?
I can't see them. That's kind of pretty important for some of the warbirds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, and the grass runway won't be affected whatsoever. And then the second thing is this will be a university again involved, which is I'm not saying they're good or bad or anything else, involved with in part another airfield, and we all know how amazing the University of Cranfield run that airfield there. It should be held up as an example of how never to run an airfield in the UK.
Right.
Next one.
Right. Is everyone still there? Because I lost you momentarily.
We're all here.
We're all here.
Right. Next story. So a year ago at the Air Tattoo, there was a small company that were exhibiting on the showground. That was Aerovolt. And they were there saying that they're going to be installing chargers for electric aircraft all around the country at different airfields. They're based in Sussex, and they're going to be back at the Air Tattoo again this year with a bigger stand. Over the past sort of year or so, they've installed 7 installations over the past 12 months, and they've got another 17 booked to be installed at airfields. The latest one's at Snowdonia, aka Carnarvon. And the chargers are going to be used for drone and eVTOL testing, as well as electric aircraft. And they're going to be presenting something called the Electric Skyway at REACT, which will be showcasing the future of electric aviation. And one of the aircraft that the company are sort of developing their systems alongside is the Skyfly Axe. They partnered with them earlier this year, and they're going to be working alongside them to integrate the Axe into the charging system, and then do the first, and they did claim this year they do the first airfield to airfield eVTOL flight. So we need to keep an eye out for when that's going to happen. And
yes, they'll need to have an eVTOL to fly first. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they're also, another firm that they're working with is Flux Aviation, who are developing an electric powered CFM Shadow.
Yeah.
So they're going to be sort of working with both those companies to
develop. The only thing I wonder is obviously, you'd have a charging network at airfields for a pipistrelle-like aeroplane, but the Skyfly Axe, surely the joy of that is being able to go to random places.
But you still need a charger. But the thing about Aerovolt is what they're trying to do is getting is they're trying to get installations on the ground installed at airfields, and they're going to be there for 15, 25 years at least. So and they are also kind of a hobby horse. They're also putting it at a location on most places where it can be used by cars as well. So there's a bit of thinking gone behind it. Yeah.
I think what's amazing is they've gone from, because they went to Fairford last year, didn't they? As a pretty much an unknown and a startup, and they've done a lot of stuff in a year.
Here's a question: are there now currently more electric aircraft chargers than there are actually electric aircraft flying in the UK?
I think you might be right. What I can tell you is that there was the 3Rs held an air race this weekend down at Goodwood, and Cliff Hawkins was, I think, the first, but he flew his Pipistrelle Velis Electra in the race. And I think it became the first person to race an electric aeroplane. So
right.
And a few people were going, well, surely if you fly that at max chat around the course, it's going to run out of volts before it gets across the finish line. But it was fine, and he landed with plenty to spare.
I thought they had to have a minimum speed of 100 knots to fly in air races.
But I'm guessing, I don't know. Maybe it goes. It is quite a slippery little machine, isn't it? So
it is.
And it is going flat. It's going flat out. The hamsters are running fast to make that charge.
That's enough. That's enough electric stuff. This is back to the good old-fashioned airspace change proposal. There's one that's come out, I think today or recently, which is covering the Land's End corridor, the sort of Land's End to the Scilly Isles corridor. There's a proposal to make that a kind of ADS-B type area. This is probably not a bad idea, apart from the fact there's no radar coverage there, at least not from anyone that isn't the Navy doing whatever it is they do down there. And there are provisions in the proposal for you to be able to transit that corridor if you don't happen to have ADS-B out. We all know that ADS-B out is a relatively simple, easy thing to do these days and relatively cheap, even though the government money is all stopped now. So that's good. And the controllers, I believe, in the cities or maybe even Land's End, will have access to these sort of flight displays of the kind that they've had in Barton as well for better kind of situational awareness. So seems like that could be a positive thing with no real downside. So
yeah,
I know what's the world coming to.
I know. Claire B has got the intel on Pipistrel LS Electro flat out speed 94 knots. She would know.
Well done, Claire. Good. See, there was someone fudged the rules for that.
They must have made an exception for it.
Yeah, maybe they only went wrong once, which is why they have plenty of. I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to upset people.
No.
Right. Well, we forgot to put a name next to the news stories. What's going to happen?
We did, but we said we said we were going to wing it. That's that the news that the D-Day Dakotas are back home, aren't they? And so all the DACs that crossed the Atlantic for D-Day 80 had to go back home, and they've all successfully made it. Dave, I think do you know any more about this?
Well, the one that they're really talking about is That's All Brother, which was the actual aircraft that led the airborne invasion of Normandy on D-Day. I mean, it's an incredible story behind this aircraft, but that is the one that's they're talking about has made it back. If you think about it, if it started off in Texas, flew all the way up to the East Coast before starting a ferry trip the long way round over the North Atlantic, all the traditional conventional stops, got to the UK, travelled down the UK over to France, did all the events around France and south of England for D-Day, then flew to Berlin for the airlift celebrations, the celebrations of the 75th anniversary of those, then came all the way back, and it's an enormous journey for a very old aeroplane, and it's great that it's made it back okay.
Yeah, there were 3 others that came across with them, and there were two others that didn't quite make it. One got stuck in Canada, one got stuck in Greenland.
Yeah.
But the great thing about some of these airplanes is, whereas the Spitz and P-51s that we see have been completely rebuilt, and the data plate is like often the only original thing, these DACs have barely been touched since those days, and they're proper pieces of history.
And they're like, what do you mean 10,000 hours? It's barely a patina on me. So
absolutely,
yeah,
cool. There's some news coming up, isn't there, about some rent? You can rent your aircraft. You should be able to in future rent your aircraft Airbnb.
Yeah,
is this from Hangar Homes guy Peter Day?
That's right. Yeah, Mr. Persistent, the guy who's been trying to get permission to build an air park in all sorts of places. But his current plan is to build them at Enniskillen Airport in Northern Ireland, and he's recognised, and it's also he's prompted by the local council, who says go ahead and do it, but we want to encourage tourism to the area. So he's recognised that people who might buy one of these hangar homes could want to rent it out the rest of the year when they're not there as an Airbnb type thing. But they don't.
Something you could fly into.
Sorry?
Something you could fly into.
Something you could fly into, park your aeroplane, and stay for a couple of weeks flying around the local area.
That's what Dan Grayson did, wasn't it?
It is a great idea. The only one, of course, he's got at the moment is Enniskillen, but you can see it perhaps taking off. If you get other people involved as well.
I've put a link in the comments because I think he's started a website as well, hasn't he? Is it?
He has, yeah. That's
it's
right.
Flying Holiday Rentals, and there's a link. There are a few strips around where you can go and stay with your aeroplane, and quite a nice idea during summer.
Yeah,
many of them you have to take your own house in the shape of a tent, though, don't you?
No, I think at Truro, they were talking. The guy there at Truro was building a set of holiday lodges next to the airfield.
Yeah, there's Farley Farm, which is just north of Southampton.
Yeah, Farley Farm. Yeah. Yeah, so
Probably
there are
loads more.
Yeah,
loads. Good. Maybe we should create a directory in time for next summer. The real the plane, the Airbnb thing, and then someone can write a press release and sell it to, I don't know, some newspaper that can talk about it or whatever. Anyway, good.
It's as we mentioned at the beginning, it's our last live stream before summer break, isn't it? Next week.
Ooh, well, we covered. Yep, absolutely. Then we're up on summer break, and yeah, good. And lastly, some sad news.
Sad news.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is
That's
about.
all right.
Oh yeah, okay. Yep, it's a couple of people have mentioned it already in the comments. Chris Gurney, who is the owner and operator of Cromer Airfield, sometimes also known as North Reps. He's died. Chris sort of was a fantastic character, very humorous. If you've ever looked at the North Reps website, it's chaotic but a lot of fun. It's just pretty much like Chris himself, he's not been well for a while, and anyway passed away, and leaves behind a fabulous little airfield. Trying to find out what's going to happen because he is the owner, so I don't know quite what's going to happen there at the moment, but hopefully it will continue.
Very, very, very sad because he was posting, I think, up until yesterday.
He was, He 2 days ago. He was ill clearly, and but he was watching on the webcam and watching stuff that was flying in.
But always a regular poster about life at Cromer, wasn't he? So it's very, very sad.
And a regular watcher of the live stream as well. Yep.
Cool, or not so cool, as it were.
Yep.
Right. Thank you very much for the news. It's time to move on. It's time to meet Bruce. I'm going to bring Bruce onto the stage. Had me worried for a little bit there. There you go. And let's put Johnny in charge and promote him to the top. Oh no,
there we go. He's there.
There we go. I'm there. Right. Thanks for joining us, Bruce. For anyone who doesn't know Bruce, airfield manager at Wem International, display pilot, all-round sky god, refuels helicopters. But for this evening, we're going to be talking about SleapKosh, which is probably becoming one of the biggest, if not the biggest, social event on the calendar in this country. Just tell us, first of all, when it started originally, how it started, who came up with the idea for it?
Those of you who have met the other sky god, Ben Gilmore, will know he used to work with me when we used to run Sleap. He now flies, but we used to run Sleap together. And I think we were sat around in the office, not doing a vast amount as per, and decided we should have a fly-in. And we said, it's getting busy here. It was just after COVID. Let's just have a massive fly-in, see what happens. And what happened was the weather was really nice, and over 150 airplanes turned up. And it went a bit mental. And we weren't really prepared for quite how busy it was going to get. And it was born. And then the year after, we did it again. And even more stuff turned up. And the weather was super, super nice again. And we had over 250 visiting airplanes. And then it was like, well, bingo, let's do it again, which was last year. And we decided with lots of different things that we were going to do an air show as well. So we did. So we did an air show last year, and the weather wasn't so good. But it's all going to come together in year 4 for the biggest one we've done yet.
Yeah. So what's new for this year? Because you changed, like the parking layout was different in 2023, wasn't it?
So 2023, we were a bit unlucky. Those who came will know it got absolutely pissed it down. I mean, absolutely. The wettest I think I've ever seen England ever. So numbers were a little bit down, and we still had 120 people flying, which given how bad the weather was still pretty impressive. But last year was the first year we introduced an air show. We only managed to do about half of it because of the weather. But this year we'll be doing the air show in full, and we're adding another one on Friday. So there's an air show on Friday and Saturday. Parking's a bit different this time. We've got way more airplanes coming and booked in. So it'll be the biggest one we've ever done by quite some margin, and it's turning into quite the thing.
Yeah. Have you got any new procedures for flying in? Because But you basically don't really have anything different, do you? It's just flying.
No, that's right. So it's pretty straightforward actually. We've published a brief. It's actually just gone out. Those who are really eagle-eyed will spot that it says 2023 on the brief. So we had about 6 people tell me that. Thanks for that. But yeah, that's now gone out. Those who don't have it can find it on the website. But it's nothing too complicated like the Oshkosh thing, which is like 22 pages. It's all it is join. If you're coming from the south, join via Montford Bridge VRP for an overhead join. And if you're joining from the north, the west, or the east, go via Ellesmere Lake VRP for a crosswind join onto whichever run we're using. So it's pretty simple. Even George Bayliss will be able to do it. So it's relatively straightforward.
What was I going to say? Air show. Sorry, your George Bayliss comment threw me there. Air show. Talk us through what you've got booked, because you've just announced a few more things, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, as of this, whilst the thing was going on, I just did the last Instagram post, which is so we've got an awful lot flying. On the Saturday, we've got oh Christ, we've got an awful lot actually. We've got starting off with a yak display. We've got a pyrotechnic grobs display with the fireworks. We've got an RF4 doing a display. We've got a Harvard doing a display, which is the Friday evening air show. And then we've got the parachute display team doing a night jump with fireworks onto the Friday, which will be quite something, out of the back of the Sky van that does all the pictures for REAP. And then moving on onto the Saturday, we've got the Formation Hurricane display, which will be with its friends as well, which will be announced fairly soon. We've got Rich Goodwin in the jet pits. We've got the Titans display team, which are mega. We've got the Wing Walkers, obviously. We've got who else? We've got Slingsby doing a display. We've got good. I'm glad the Wing Walkers got mentioned, and we've got an awful lot more doing stuff as well. And actually, top of the list, which is the most exciting one of the lot, is we have the 152 doing a display as well, which is going to be pretty exciting. So there's an awful lot happening on all 2 days and 3 days actually, and we've got 8 live bands. There's so much going on. We've got all sorts of trade stores. There's so much going on. I can't even remember. I have a list of stuff that I need to organise. It gets bigger and bigger each day.
Sorry, can I just jump in and ask you a boring question about the whole kind of SleapKosh and the general activity around a big event like that? I mean, how much of a risk is it when you put something like that in?
Oh yeah, pretty. Well, actually, you say that. I get that question a lot. So we're very fortunate. Shropshire Aero Club, which is the aero club that I manage. Well, I run the airport for, and then the airfield itself is there. It has a flying school as well, and it's a big old place now. We've got over 700 members. We're in a fortunate position that we can run stuff like this because of them, and how we run it is actually really tightly controlled, because what we don't want to do is lose loads of money. So through sponsorship, through careful how we do things, I do a lot of the stuff myself. We do a lot. We don't get money outside contractors, and we have lots of volunteers and things. It means we can actually put the event on really, really cheap. So we aim to cover costs and make a little bit of profit, which obviously is worth our while. But in reality, providing the weather plays reasonably ball, we're not taking too much of a risk. It's actually fairly well controlled.
Cool. And am I right in thinking that you have to, if you want to attend SleapKosh, you have to fly in. You can't drive in, can you?
No, you can't. You can't just turn up. I'm afraid. The problem is, if we did, I mean, it's a great event, and it's a shame that we can't open it to everyone. But we simply just don't have the capacity. And going back to the point that Ian said there, if we wanted to run an event like that involved everyone and everyone could just rock up, that's tens of thousands of people, and then you get into the insurance is mental. The how we run all the crowd control and everything just goes up a notch. And it's a notch that we really can't afford. I'd love to, but alas, it's just not doable. We might do in the future. We've got some plans for that, but at the moment, no. Unfortunately, it's flying. Or if you're a member of Shropshire Aero Club, you can come as well.
What did you learn from last year? Any big learning points?
Bring an umbrella. Oh, and people really like drinking beer when it gets rainy. Like we sold 1,000 pints or something mental in like when it was pissing it down. People like beer a lot in the rain for some reason. What else did I learn? Oh, the CAA need a better tent because the CAA came along last year with the airshow stuff, and we had a little tent on top of the tower, and me, the flying display director, and the CAA were all on the top, and this big storm came through, and those who saw this tent just disappear basically, and the CAA got very wet. So if the CAA come, make sure they have a good tent.
So talking, I'm just looking. I thought I had a picture of that tent, but no, ignore me for now.
I've been a bit. We had many pictures. We should have some sleep pictures.
Because it's an event that has, in a short time, has generated an amazing. It's got a reputation for a tremendous atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Like Johnny described it, it's a social event. Oh, there's the tent.
That was the CAA tent.
Well, only the best.
To be fair, Bruce, you kind of overplayed the description there, because that's barely a tent.
Well, it certainly wasn't tent by the time we finished, but it was the tent of one of the guys, Tom, who helps organise the event with me. It was his mother's tent. I don't think he's told her yet that it's broken and just disappeared in 1,000 pieces. But anyway, it really is a good play. And Johnny described it as a social event. That's exactly what it is. It's an event for people to meet up from around the country, for members of Shropshire Air Club to get involved as well. And it just is a good time. It just doesn't try and take itself too seriously. It's just for everyone to have a laugh, basically.
Mm. From the perspective of the air display, are you an FDD now? And are you the FDD for this one?
I'm not the FDD for this one, so I was planning to be. So I've become a flying display director this year, which is pretty exciting. I've got a few shows that we're doing with that, and I was planning to be the flying display director for this show. But unfortunately what happened is we ended up having too many acts come to us and say, "Oh, we'll do it." So it's gone from a tier 1, which is the one I can do, to it's turned into a tier 2 show, which is the one above what I can do. So thankfully, I've got the ever experienced Trevor Graham, who organises Midlands Air Festival and Longleat and lots of other shows around the UK, to organise the flying display side of stuff. So he's the flying display director. I'm the deputy flying display director, and we put the show on. Those who are in the know about this sort of stuff, the paperwork there's a lot of it, and we started a long time ago to get it organised. There's a lot more that goes into a flying display than I think people realise. To keep it safe and to keep it organised, there's an awful lot that goes involved. It's not just a matter of flying something past.
Yeah,
and
sorry, Ed, go on.
I presume that's the whole dealing with all the bureaucracy is just something that never gets easier. It sounds like if you're running a flying display, every year it gets a little bit more complex.
Well, I don't know, actually. Looking at the comments when I was talking about the CA before, that people don't necessarily like them. I mean, there's a lot to it, but there's a lot to it because it's actually pretty decent stuff. And I'm going to talk some good about the CA. Honestly, the CA on this side of stuff is really good and organises a lot of stuff properly. The regulation is there for a reason, and the first year is the hardest year, actually, because there's a lot more. You have to look at stuff for the first time, and you can reuse an awful lot of stuff that we did last year, like we're doing. So it's quite a time-consuming process. There's a lot to it, but it has to be done for a reason. And actually, it's not too strenuous compared to other bits of the CAA I have to deal with. It's actually quite good.
And I'm right in thinking, you mentioned the Midlands Airfest earlier. You're on your second season now, aren't you, of displaying?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Displaying the monos, we were displaying that at Midlands Air Festival this year and last year. There's some nice pictures here, which I'm sure Ed might talk about fairly soon. And Yeah, it was that was an awful lot of fun. Trevor, who runs our show, organises that. It's a massive show. That it's 15,000 people a day, with just some phenomenal acts, and we were fortunate enough to do it again, which is quite the privilege.
And so last year you were on with Ben, weren't you? And you were talking about your mono display, and it looks like one of those is definitely not a mono now.
No. It's grown another wing, and become an awful lot faster and more fun to fly. But yeah, so Ben's mono needs a little bit of work this year, so it's doing some stuff. It's being recovered actually, so it's not going to be ready for the show. So we were left an airplane down. Now I fly that Skybolt as well, which actually, when we look at it, are pretty similar colours. So we decided to put them together. So it's a little enlarged display, and actually we've had so much fun doing it. Running the display, it's been tremendous. Unfortunately, you will not be able to see us display at the air show because I'm going to be a bit too busy. But we're doing lots of other shows this year, so do come along and see that as well. We're actually there. There, look on that picture there. So it'll that's a lot of fun. That's the kind of. I'm not doing Sleap. That's what we do.
Yeah, and I guess people would be. And two monos makes sense, but what's it been like having one fast, one slow?
Challenging. There's a 150 horsepower differential between the two, so getting that right is quite a process. And when we started putting the display together, me and Ben didn't really know what was going to happen. And then we went flying and gave it a go. And actually, they fly really nicely together. The Skybot flies nice and slowly. The mono actually keeps up just nice. And working with the routine and managing the speeds and climbs and everything correctly, they actually work really well together. So yeah.
And you've got smoke, so you can smoke Ben all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got to be careful because he often flies behind me. And during a couple of practices, he ends up in the smoke, which is like temporary IFR, I believe is the term. So he has to be careful.
So Bruce, last time we spoke, you were just about to embark on your first season. You may have done one or two displays or something, and you were kind of like fairly what's the word I'm looking for? You were in awe of the amount that was in front of you and kind of new experience and how much you kind of had to learn and stuff like that. So one year on, are you feeling more like have you started to feel like an old timer? Have you done that many displays, or you still feel like you're at the bottom of a massive hill?
Well, I tell everyone I'm a display pilot now, so I must be a proper display pilot. I can't go 30 seconds without mentioning it. So quite clearly, I've become a display pilot. It's quite the thing. I mean, you can talk to Ben about it as well. We've done a lot. It feels like we've done a lot now in the grand scheme of things compared to most. We haven't, but there's certain things which you get used to, especially with me doing this FTD stuff as well. So like the briefs and the paperwork and all that stuff doesn't seem quite as confusing anymore. It's all very straightforward. The thrill of flying the thing is still pretty scary. I mean, and every time we go flying, it's a nerve-wracking experience. When we pilot, we get the seatbelts on, and it all goes quiet when you put your headset on, and you sat there, usually was watching something else display above you, and you look over to the crowd. It is always a terrifying experience. And if you weren't scared, I think that would be a bad thing. But as soon as you get flying, it all blends into one. So yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Is there anything you've learned that you didn't realise you were going to learn? You're blimey, I didn't expect that kind of thing.
A few things. One, if you go to an air show and they say, "Oh, give the pilot a good wave," they can see you really well. You can't. It's just a sea of like grey, and you're usually so busy concentrating that you have no idea whether even like what they're doing. Never mind if they're waving or not.
You don't know what sign they're making, do you? Really?
No, they're probably looking at the phone. To be honest. In fact, actually, that was one of the most important. When I became a display part of our DAE, our display authorization evaluator, one of the things it was John Beattie that taught us to fly. As some of you may know him, and that was one of the things he said to me. He went, don't try too hard. Don't try to do anything, man, because all you're trying to do is compete with a 99 flake. And there's a person, they've got a flying display in front of them, and they've got a 99 flake here, and that's their attention is there. So don't try and kill yourself, impress them too much, because an ice cream will impress them more.
Yeah.
Wise words.
Very wise words. Very wise words. And take it to heart. It's a lot of fun. Flying is a real privilege, and this year, especially when we did Midlands a couple of weeks ago, it was quite the surreal experience there, because it's in a bit of a bowl. You land, you turn your engines off, and you open the canopy and you can hear 15,000 people clapping you, which is like bigger than most concerts. It's a very surreal experience.
Has being a display pilot led you to have more 99s?
I actually can't stand them. I don't really like them. And they're not 99p, especially at air shows as well. Like, they're usually about £8. But I don't really like ice cream. But
what's the obviously you're in a community in a community of kind of like-minded flyers. What's the world of other display pilots like? Are they really kind of helpful, supportive?
Quite the opposite, actually. Sorry. No, I thought you were about to say something different. Quite the opposite to what I thought you were going to say, which was no. They're all helpful and supportive. It's everyone expects it to be like a really cliquey world of like Spitfire pilots, and they're not. Everyone's sound and really, really nice. And the main thing I've learned doing lots of different stuff has been doing parachute flying, doing display flying as well. It's all display pilots just like getting drunk. Like, I've never met one that doesn't.
Sweeping statement.
And you can get drunk too at SleapKosh, which is on the 12th to 14th of June. But yeah, no, it's a really good social scene behind it. And once you do get into that little world of display pilots, it's a really nice place to be, because everyone's just so nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are the dates again? Remind us.
12th to the 14th of July, which is, I think, 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks. Yeah.
Cool.
Starting to feel
Comment
really, really
from
close.
here we go. Sophie Woolley,
Yes,
are you a display pilot?
I will tell you
Just
that several times over.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Sorry. I was going to say, is there a website?
There is indeed. But that's the long one, or you can just type in sleapkosh.co.uk and it works. But yeah, I do hope you can make it to everyone that is watching. If you haven't booked in, do book in now, because they will eventually run out. And as hopefully, if the weather stays good, then it will fill up really quickly. And we can't have the entire GA community, unfortunately. So you've got to come along. You've got to come along before everything runs out.
Wow, fantastic. On that note, I think we should say thank you very much. We wish you huge amounts of luck with SleapKosh, and of course your second year of display flying. But first and foremost, in the next 3 weeks, SleapKosh, which is must be occupying pretty much all of your time between now and then. So thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for a good year of displaying, and thanks. Unfortunately, it clashes with an event, a careers event that we hold in Manchester, so it's a difficult one for me.
Always does, every year. Maybe you should move the careers event in. I know Johnny desperately wants to go and get drunk at SleapKosh, and not.
And maybe you should move SleapKosh. I don't know.
Well, how dare you?
I seem to think Johnny did go one year and didn't resurface for several days.
Yeah. Good. Right. On that basis, Ben, thank you very much. I wish you, although I won't be able to see you this year, but I wish you a huge, successful event, and that you continue to build SleapKosh into what deserves to become probably the UK's premier general aviation social gathering, as it were, and much more. I believe that's how Aero and Oshkosh started. So you know where you got to get to.
Yeah.
We'll be there one day.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
George, it's a giant Johnny. There we go. George Bayliss says, "Do the careers event at Sleap, Ian?"
Yeah, you could, but you'd need to re-tarmac the road on the way in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. AJS says, "I'll be at the careers event, Ian, with BWPA."
See you there.
There we go. Fantastic. So, Fancy Hanger, this week, one of our Fly Club members who visited us yesterday suggested aeroplanes on a budget challenge. And that sounded like a good idea. So we went for summer fun from the classifieds for less than 20K because it's like we've got to work with a low number here. And you might think, oh, I'm not sure you can find decent things. But actually, in the classifieds, there's some good stuff. So who's first?
Well, you're first on the list this week, Ed.
How is that possible? Okay, well, I'll go first. I looked on the stalwart aviation trading website that we all go to, A4s, and found this: a Jodar Paris-Nice D120, £16,000. Can you believe it? A two-seat aeroplane. It's Continental C90 powered. It had new fabric and paint in 2012. 20 litres an hour. Got radio in it. It says old radio, 8.33 handheld. Needs a little bit of panel updating. But otherwise, they say this is a great fun aeroplane. It was imported in 1972, and the same flying group has owned it since then and operated it. And you go, good out. They are great little aeroplanes. So you can have fun. You can take a friend, and 16K. That's just. Ian and I went somewhere today, and we were talking about the cost of cars, and the cost of cars is crazy. So 16K for an aeroplane like that.
That's Ford Fiesta money.
I think I'm right in saying that
you can't even get a Ford Fiesta.
No, I think I'm right in saying that Paris-Nice was Delamonte's favourite model, or maybe it was a Masquerade. I can't quite remember.
It was a Masquerade, I think. But still, I know that the little 120 Paris-Nice is a fantastic little machine. So
yeah, absolutely. Jolly good. Well, it's a strong start from you there, Ed.
Midlife PPL already says, there we go, Ed wins. But he might be the first.
He might be the one selling it, though.
True. Yeah.
Johnny.
Right, I've gone for something called a Sportster, which I found on Barnstormers.
That's excellent.
Isn't it great? It's like a Peton pole, but more basic.
We asked you about this earlier because occasionally you see something in the list and you go, I'm not entirely sure what did you describe this as?
Peton pole, but not as robust. I think.
Not as robust looking, and I think that's kind of summed that up, hasn't it?
Yeah. So $11,000. Apparently flies great. Rotax 503, 200 hours, 10 gallons of fuel, engine monitor, electric starter, heel brakes. Matco tail wheel, and no N number. So I don't know if is it.
Oh, that'll be ultralight then.
Yeah,
maybe that's why it doesn't look quite so robust.
That could be. But yeah, three blade prop.
Yeah.
So, and never before have I. It's clearly short on things if you have to list the tail wheel in the advert.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting to look for. Good luck with that.
That's cheap.
Yeah, it's ridiculously cheap. I mean, you got to add VAT to it when you get it back, and then you've got to ship it over because you're never going to fly. It's exactly what it's like.
That's mean, Bell and Mark Greenfield. Mean, just mean.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mike Roberts says it's Johnny's first win.
Nobody's seen my entry yet. My entry is like
Why don't you hit us with your entry?
So my entry brings a bit of cross-country touring. If you want to use it, you can tour cross-country. It's 120 knot, maybe even a slightly faster airplane if it's nice and clean, which is good. It's a really lovely, docile tailwheel trainer. So if you're not into tailwheel flying, this is a great way to get into it without scaring yourself too much. It's not like jumping into a pits as your first aircraft or something. And on top of all that, it's aerobatic. I mean, it's that you got to admit, but that is a dexterous aeroplane. And it's only 20K. 20K for Utopia. I mean, that's not 20K.
How is that £20,000? There's got to be a catch.
Well, when they got to the annual, they did find a little bit of metal in the engine.
Okay.
But I kind of figure you could just put a new oil filter on, flush it through. It doesn't say how big the chunks of metal were, to be honest. So, I mean, they could be like piston size, which would be awkward. But it could be just like little flakes, which is probably just a bit of paint inside, isn't it?
And to be fair, if you were smart, and that's still an awful lot of aeroplane for the money. I'm not sure your summer fun. I think summer fun's going to be slightly nervous. Summer fun going as my engine disassembles itself in flight.
Where's I got a book? Can I find that book? Probably can't find it.
What, the Mike Bush book.
Mike Bush book, yeah. There's a Mike Bush book on engines here, which is a great book. And there's another sort of maintenance manifesto. And I think that in the UK, we tend to go, there's a little bit of metal there. Right, that means taking the engine out, sending it out for a complete overhaul, rebuild, everything else. Let's do blah, blah, which is like the belt and braces thing. In the US, they probably try and Mike Bush. We go, well, why are you doing that? Most of the engine's probably good. So have a look at it. Assume it's not the camshaft. Assume it's not the followers. Assume it's not the crankshaft. It might be a bit of a piston ring or something going funny. You might only need an overhaul of one cylinder, or just maybe a new cylinder, and then you're back in the air, and that's like for a couple of grand as opposed to 30 grand, and then you've got your for 22 grand. Okay, that's past our budget, but it's impossible. On the other hand, it might not be, and it might be 40 grand in that case.
But would you fly it across the channel, Ian?
Well, that wasn't that. To be fair, that wasn't a criteria of fantasy hangar.
Well, you're very good at introducing late criteria.
So, I mean that's based on the Isle of Wight, and if the Isle of Wight was under zombie attack, and I had to get out, I'd fly out. I'd climb high over the Isle of Wight and then glide and hope I got a clearance through Southampton. The zombies are after me. Stand by.
Okay.
And anyway, I think that's I put that on. That's definitely something with potential, isn't it? So, and how else are you going to get Stabia for 20k?
Right, yeah, exactly. So that's just leaves Dave.
That just leaves Dave.
Well, it's probably a bit of a controversial one, this, because it's not going to be to everybody's taste. But I've chosen a 1999 CFM Streak Shadow. This is the high performance Shadow. The high performance Shadow. It's in fantastic condition. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and it's on at a stupidly price of $10,000. Although it's not in America, it's in the UK. I don't know why it's priced at $10,000. It's probably some Facebook thing that's going on. So even say it's 10,000 quid, that is one hell of a very nice Streak Shadow.
That is, and that is good looking. Looks smart.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's good too.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad at all. I'm a little bit worried that it's Facebook Marketplace $10,000. It could be right now. There could be someone watching the live stream going, "It's my bloody aeroplane. It's not for sale at all. What's going on here?"
Well, apparently it's somewhere near Cambridge. It's kept at a dry hangar at RF Holton. Currently, is there a difference to a dry hangar? Can you get a wet hangar?
Well, yeah. Who knows?
Maybe
Who knows? So how are we doing then?
How are we doing in the comments? So the more Ian feels, so I'm guessing this is talking about your introduction. The more Ian feels the need to sell his fancy hangar truth, the worse it's going to be. And Annabelle does say, waiting for the engine to implode doesn't sound like fun. I think you've got to be pragmatic, Annabelle.
Annabelle, I don't know if you've ever had the experience of engines with problems, but
and as long as it could just be like you say, tiny flakes in the engine. As long as it's not a part with part numbers on it, then you shouldn't be worried.
Exactly.
I think by the time you've got part numbers, you're in a serious trouble.
Yeah.
George Bayliss says Johnny wins. What else have we got? We have Ian has stormed it. Martin Lusby says plus £40. I think maybe 40k for the engine. Who knows? It's all a gamble, isn't it? River Rock said. So, is there an engine in the filter?
Only little bits of it.
That's it. Yeah. What else? potentially large bill. Yawn, Ed wins again. Well, not always. Shadow with a 912, worth it nearly for the engine. Oh, nearly worth it for the engine.
Yeah.
Johnny wins this one. Johnny, got to go with you. Ed wins. Annabelle says, come on, Dave, RAF Fulton isn't near Cambridge. Ian wins, no question. Ed wins, a Jodel every time. I think Ed's the winner. Ed wins, Dave wins. Dave for me. Fun flame. Tom says Nipper for sale at 15k. I did see that one. We went for it. Did look like fun. So Michael says, yeah, there are wet hangers. The blister ones at Popham were wet.
Can I just say, for a while I looked through the Flexwing microlight stuff. There are some real bargains to be had in the whole Flexwing microlighting stuff for this time of year. I mean, I reckon a good little 912. I don't want a 2-stroke, but 912 bit of Flexwing.
Well, I can tell you one for sale actually. Do you remember Brian Milton flew his microlight, Flexwing microlight to Australia?
And that's for sale, isn't it?
That's for sale, yes.
Wow. And talking of coincidences, I was flying yesterday and saw a gyro which had the registration G Ketch, which was the one that flew around the world.
Yes, yeah.
James.
James from James Ketchell, yeah. Famous gyros.
Skycrew says, I don't know who won. I fell asleep. I have to say, I might have to call it because there's a few. I think the Jodel is quite popular, so I'll take the Ed. Though Catkin says the Pram wins, talking about Johnny's Pram wheels. So Julian, I'm partial to a Citario. So maybe there was a spanner that's gone through the works.
Yeah. Well, we need to move on, otherwise Tony will be asleep again.
Yes.
And dribbling or something.
Events. Right. So Friday, tomorrow till Sunday, there's the Shuttleworth Festival of Flight. Saturday 29th, D-side gliding club flying at Boyne. I think that's how you say it. At Boyne Airfield. Yep. Saturday is an aerobatics competition at Little Gransden. Also on Saturday, Sackville flying at Sackville Farm. Coming up on the 5th and 6th of July, just a little reminder, Private Flyer Fest at Leeds East, which some people call Church Fenton. So that's it.
And like Bruce says, sign up for SleapKosh. Don't miss out on that.
Yep.
Don't forget SleapKosh. It's going to be epic. Good. On that basis, I think we're only 2 minutes over. I'm going to say thank you very much, team. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching us. If you're a member, see us on live stream on Skype stream next Wednesday. Don't forget, drop us a note. Come and see us. Get your free mug. I think that's about it. Have a good one. Fly safely.
Enjoy the weather. Take care.
Bye.